The day has finally arrived. I've been teasing this moment for weeks, if not more than a month now in previous videos. I've been alluding to this coming upgrade that was going to happen in my tiny Atmos theater. And the day is finally here. I've got here 12 speakers from RBH Sound. Now, if you're not familiar with RBH Sound, they make phenomenal speakers. These guys are a American made. They make their speakers here in the United States. I think their drivers, like the speakers themselves, are not produced in the US, but they build everything from that point beyond here in the United States, and their pricing is fantastic given the fact that they're made local here in the US. So my introduction to RBH happened at M-Wave back during the summer, and I heard the RBH speakers for the first time, and what absolutely blew me away was the volume and sound quality compared to the size of the speakers. I could not believe that I was hearing the sound that I was hearing coming from such a small form factor. And when I saw these speakers, I knew that these would be absolutely perfect for my tiny home theater build. And so initially, obviously, if you've been following these build videos, then you know that I initially started out with some super budget speakers from Monoprice. And that was because RBH was absolutely slammed with orders. I had to wait because they had so many orders to fill heading into the Christmas shopping season. They were just absolutely covered up. So I got those Monoprice speakers as just kind of like a placeholder so I could get things built, try it out. Plus, now I get to do some comparisons between the budget speakers versus these more premium speakers. So I'm super excited about that. Now, here's the thing. When you grow up and you become an adult, the magic of Christmas, you just don't get that same feeling that you get on Christmas morning when you come out and there's a bunch of presents and the excitement of opening them. You just don't get to experience that once you grow up. This is about as close as you're going to get. I am beyond stoked, beyond excited to open up these boxes. This is like Christmas morning times 2. This is incredible. Okay, enough talking. Let's get to unboxing. Okay, so let's start with this one. This is the Model 5-IW. Now, I believe this is the model that will be my sides and my surrounds. So these will be at ear level off to the side and then behind the main listening position. So let's get these things out. Check out the packaging, see how well they're boxed up. I assume they're boxed well, but let's just make sure. Okay, all right, yeah, got some extra cardboard, nice solid styrofoam. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. Okay, so these are packaged very well. They're double boxed. So this, I assume, is going to be a mounting bracket, but let's take a look real quickly. Yep, these are mounting brackets. Okay, we will work on that later. So I just have to give just the biggest shout out to RBH Sound. These guys, Shane, I talked to Shane, Rich, and Kenny. These guys are just fantastic to work with. I mean, I pitched them on this idea and I explained what I was doing, trying to help people figure out how to build theaters in smaller spaces, and they just were immediately on board. They immediately saw the value of it and were like, yeah, we want to be involved. What can we do? What can we do to help? And they have delivered. They have absolutely delivered. Okay, so this is my first impression. This is 2 speakers, but dang, it is heavy. It is much heavier than I would have imagined. These things are solid. Now, I do know that RBH, they use HDF for their speaker cabinets. HDF standing for high density fiberboard. So they don't use, the board that's like less dense, that is typically used in speaker cabinets. They use that HDF, and it's immediately apparent because it is much heavier. This is a wall mount speaker. Look at the size of this thing. This thing is tiny, but I can tell you, the sound that comes from this thing is just unbelievable. So this is perfect, absolutely perfect for situations where you just don't have a lot of room. When you're trying to work in a small space, because not everybody has, a massive dedicated, room or a basement that they can set aside for a dedicated theater. And a lot of times, space is a major factor in designing a room. And so to have this option of being able to have a speaker with such a small form factor, but not having to sacrifice sound quality or volume, these speakers have 5.25-inch drivers on them. So the tweeter is above the 5.25 driver. And I mean, they're sharp looking speakers. They're just beautiful, gorgeous. And like I say, the build quality is fantastic. And these grill covers are magnetic, so they just snap right into place. Oh, geez. This is so cool. Yeah, so these are rated for 50 to 150 watts, 8-ohm speakers. So you shouldn't have any trouble driving these with just an AVR, internal amps. I, of course, have got my external amps. So I'll have absolutely no trouble driving these. But yeah, these are looking great. Let's get the rest of them open. So these speakers are the 5A-IW. Now these are the speakers that I will be using for my height channels. Now, the great thing about these speakers is that they mount directly to the ceiling. You can also mount them to the wall, I believe. But in my case, in my situation, I will be mounting them to the ceiling, and they come with mounts. Now, if you recall from my previous videos, then you know that my height channels are currently mounted to the ceiling. I actually repurposed TV mounts, a television mount. Shout out to my friend Adam for letting me know about those. And so it's a TV mount, but it's really small form factor. It mounts to the ceiling, and I attached it to the speaker. It's a great solution. It worked great, but these speakers take it one step further and remove the need to purchase any additional hardware to mount it to the ceiling. And I'm also excited and curious to see how far they stick out from the ceiling. So like my bookshelf speakers that I'm using as height channels now, obviously they hang down quite a bit. It's not a problem because, the ceiling's tall enough, whatever. But I am curious to see how these look. Oh yeah, so these are the angled speakers. These, you can see, you've got the sloped face so that they point towards the listener. I want to be super, super careful as I remove this fabric. The last thing I want to do is damage my new beautiful speakers. So it looks like I'll be able to get them moved. Awesome. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's the great thing about these speakers. Okay. Well, a lot of great things. So first of all, they are a perfect match aesthetically to the sides and surrounds that I've got, right? The only difference is that they have a sloped face. Now this one is also a little bit different because when I say different, not different. It's the exact same driver and tweeter configuration with the magnetic grill. The difference though is the mounting system. So this is a different type of setup for mounting to the ceiling. This is the 55i. This will be used as my center channel. This has two 5 1/4 drivers. I believe they are identical to the 5 1/4 drivers that are in the other speakers, all of the speakers, which makes these perfect as a set because you have every single speaker tonally matched perfectly to all the others, which is going to be perfect to create a cohesive, consistent setup. And this thing, like the others, punches way above its weight class. This thing is not large at all. I will not have any trouble fitting this on my stand in my tiny theater because it's just not very big. But it does put out a lot of sound. And there it is. Oh, okay. So I think the best way to get this thing out will be, I just let gravity do all the work. That was my secret. Oh, look at this. Look at this. So a few things that I noticed. First of all, like the others, it is very heavy. I mean, not overly heavy, but much heavier than it looks. Also, the footprint, the forward-facing footprint, very, very small, but it does have a nice deep cabinet. So this, I'm assuming this is how it's able to produce just the volume of sound that it's able to because of this nice deep cabinet, but in a small form factor on the forward face, which is great. Now, like all the others, it has a magnetic grill. Take that off. You've got the two drivers, the tweeter in the middle. This is perfect. Now, I believe this speaker can be used vertically as well. If that's not correct, I'll put a little blurb up on the screen. But I do believe that this one can be oriented vertically. So you could use it, like say in an LCR configuration where you just had 3 matching speakers for your LCRs. But in my case, I'm going to be using it horizontally, paired up with the 2 mains, which I'm going to unbox next. So this is one of the mains. This is the 85i. This speaker was reviewed by Gene Della Sala at Audioholics and James Larson, and they both of them loved this speaker. And I can attest to the quality of this speaker. I went to the RBH showroom. I listened to this speaker, and guys, I was floored. I could not believe what I was hearing because the sound was so full and so rich. And I asked Kenny, I said, okay, so which sub are you using with these speakers? He says, no sub, it's just the 2 mains. I'm like, what? That cannot be right. And he said, well, the secret is that each main has an 8-inch woofer on the side of it, each one of them. I'm like, oh, okay. But still, that is amazing. So you've got a 5 1/4 driver, the tweeter, and then an 8-inch woofer on the side. So these are full range speakers. So you want to drive them full range. You want them to be set as full range. You don't want any crossover cutoff for these speakers. Otherwise, the 8-inch woofer will go unused. So let's get this thing unboxed and check it out. And as with all of the other speakers, it is boxed super well. I'm not sure what oh, this is the outrigger set. So it does have like a stand to kind of brace it on the bottom so that it's stable. Yeah, these are these things are packaged really well. Oh, beautiful. Here's the other thing about these speakers, and this is what just floored me. So from the front, you can only see, I'm going to do this one the same as I did the center channel. I'm going to turn it over. So what shocked me about these speakers was just the size. And I know I keep coming back to this. I keep bringing up this point. But these RBH speakers, you just, until you hear them, you really can't understand how surprising it is to get this quality and volume of sound out of something so small. And that's what really stood out to me on these 85i's. Like, I mean, in this box, of course, you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that's a massive speaker. No. Once we get this thing unboxed, we just keep peeling back the layers here. Once we get it finally out of the box, you'll see this is not a large speaker. I mean, this thing is very small. And so once you hear them in person, it's just shocking that you get the sound out of them that you do. But again, with these, you do have to point out, they do have that 8-inch driver. So you do have a little bit of a kind of an ace up the sleeve, so to speak. Oh, this is fantastic. Here it is. Oh, this is gorgeous. It's rear ported, so you've got the port off the back, and you can see the driver right here. Down here at the bottom, this is the 8-inch driver. Well, first I'm going to show you the front, because this, when I first listened to these speakers, this is what I saw. That's all I saw. And there was 2 of these, and they were putting out sound that was just, I could not believe what I was hearing. But then Kenny did show me, he says, well, actually they do have an 8-inch driver, but even still, even with this 8-inch driver, which I want to see if I can pull off this cover. It does have a pull tab, so you would think that it is removable, but I also don't want to damage it. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. So that grill cover is flush with the side, so it doesn't stick out, and it's got a very snug fit, and that's a great feature that they put that pull tab right there so you can remove it. So now I know that it is removable, and that is that 8-inch driver. So like I say, these speakers are just, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, just super simple design. Everything about it, the fit and finish, these things are just beautiful. Like the curves, like I say, the corners, the paint, you touch it, you don't leave fingerprints. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's do the subwoofer next. All right, we come down to the final unboxing of this set, and this is the subwoofer. This is the RBH S-12HPS. So it's a 12-inch sub, and the S at the end stands for, I assume, sealed. So this is a sealed sub. Now, if you've been following all of my build videos, then you know that the sub that I currently have in my tiny theater is the RSL 10-inch speedwoofer. Now, the great thing about this is now I'm going to have 2 subs in my tiny theater. I will have the RBH 12-inch sealed, and the RSL 10-inch sealed. And I am excited to find out what it's like to have those two subs in a room that is 8 feet by 8 feet, or sorry, 11 feet by 11 feet with an 8-foot ceiling. Some may say overkill, but honestly, when it comes to bass, as an enthusiast, like, is there really such thing as overkill? I don't think so. I mean, I've seen some setups that are pretty extreme, but I think a 10-inch and a 12-inch, I don't think that's going to be overkill, but I do think it's going to be pretty awesome. So we've got the power cable. That is obviously to be expected. I'm not sure how much this thing weighs. It's pretty solid. I'll put the specs of this subwoofer on the screen so that you can see what it is. And I'm just going to let this be the way that it comes out of the box. Yeah, okay. So now I want to be careful because I'm not sure how close it is to the top of the box. All right. Okay. Flip it over. Make sure that's not, I assume that's not the driver there, but I just wanted to verify. Okay, well packaged, very well packaged. They've got extra styrofoam on the bottom there. Yeah, okay, so that is where the electronics are. And they've got that nice little, they've built this little protection around the electronics that are right there. I assume the driver is on the other side. Yep. And there it is. So this is the back. You've got the amp here. It does have various ways to connect to it. I will just be using the RCA because that's what I've got on the back of my Onkyo. You got the power port for the plug, and then the power switch. Various settings you can do. You can just leave it on standby so that it just kicks on when it senses a signal being sent to it. You can reverse the phase. It's got a switch, 0, 180-degree phase switch. And then you've got a couple network ports, and then gain, mode. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on that to find out what the mode switcher does. Right now it's on 1, and then the gain, probably set that about 50%. So that is the front. Let's take a look, or sorry, that is the back. Let's take a look at the front now. And again, we've got the removable grill. Let's see if I can get it off without damaging it. Yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, that's beautiful. So it takes up, I mean, it uses basically almost every square inch of the footprint. So it's not, it's a 12-inch driver, but a really small form factor given 12 inches because it just takes up, you know, as much as it possibly can. So it's a very efficient use of space. And that is a beautiful, I don't even want to touch it. It's a beautiful driver. I love that silver look to it. And this is kind of cool. On the grill cover, it's got metal pegs that slip into these holes here to hold the grill in place. Guys, this is super exciting. I am just so excited. And I wanted to include the installation in this first video, but honestly, I was just too excited to share this unboxing. And so I wanted to get this video out ASAP so you could all see what I've got in store. So the next video, hopefully I'll be able to show some installations, show how everything goes into place. So definitely watch for that video, and thanks for watching.